How's it going, everybody? Austin Carter here with Attack Line Leather. Today I'm going to be going over some painting and dyeing techniques that I use. I just recently tooled up this wallet and decided I was going to do a quick little video on how I go about painting, dyeing, and antiquing my projects. And I thought this wallet would be a perfect example because there was a lot of dyeing and painting involved. Right off the bat, I start off with the background, and here I'm using a mahogany brown. It's one of my favorite browns to use, and when I can, I always try and do the background first. It really just kind of helps me see what else I'm going to be painting, and it just kind of helps divide everything up for me. Next, you see me painting the roses. I'm using a red dye for that, and I try to use dye most of the time because it just sets into the leather a lot better, and it will last longer. Paint, if done wrong, over time can wear out. But hopefully in this video I'll be able to talk to y'all a little bit about how to make your paint last a little longer. And so here I am about to paint. I believe I'm going to be painting some leaves and the cactus. I'm going to be using greens. You'll find with some of these water-based paints that some take better than others. For instance, black paints really well, red paints really well, greens, yellows, whites, oranges do not paint very well. And so what I'm doing here is I basically have to paint in layers. And so I dilute the first coat, and you basically want it to, the consistency to run like a dye. So it's less like a paint, more like a watery dye. And so you lay down your first coat, and then I come back with the regular paint and do a second coat. And so you're doing two coats. Some require more than others, but like with greens, 2 coats works really well. Whites, I always do 2 coats, and I don't generally water it down. 2 coats seems to do fine. And here I'm painting some feathers. A quick tip about painting. So I am not a huge painter, but the one thing that I have found is, you do have to be careful when you paint. It can make or break a project, depending on how fast you go or how, careful you're not. But what I've found that once you're done painting and then you get to the antiquing stage, antique can really help hide maybe some of the spots that you might not have been so clean on, and so let's say that you accidentally got a little outside your lines or something like that. Don't freak out quite yet. Finish the project and then apply your antique, and a lot of times that antique will kind of clean up the edges and stuff like that, because you got to think, if you're using a paste or maybe a gel antique, that's going to get down in all the little crevices, and so if you kind of mess up a little bit, it's most likely going to get covered up by the antique. And so here you see me just kind of painting up the headdress of that Indian skull. And if you noticed earlier that I had left the tips of the feathers unpainted white, and that's because painting red over white, or any color really over white, doesn't really sit well. They don't blend well, and so you don't want to layer paints all the time. And so everything's painted. Make sure you let everything dry fully, and then I move on to applying a good layer of tan coat. What this does is it seals your project so that when you lay down your antique paste like I am now, you'll be able to wipe it off. So the tan coat acts as a resist. Make sure it's fully dry. I think I let the tan coat dry for about 2 hours, and you can tell it'll be nice and dry. And then I applied the antique gel, and as you see, that antique just gets right down into all the little crevices and cracks of the feathers and the cactus burrs and everything like that, and makes for a nice little project. Alright, well, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hey y'all, thanks for watching to the end of this video. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to see future videos.